A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. There are three classes of men: lovers of wisdom, lovers of honor, and lovers of gain. Love is a serious mental disease. If a man neglects education, he walks lame to the end of his life. Honesty is for the most part less profitable than dishonesty. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. When men speak ill of thee, live so as nobody may believe them. The punishment which the wise suffer who refuse to take part in the government is to live under the government of worse men. Attention to health is life's greatest hindrance. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. A hero is born among 100, a wise man is found among 1,000, but an accomplished one might not be found even among 100,000 men. The beginning is the most important part of the work. There are two things a person should never be angry at: what they can help and what they cannot. Knowledge without justice ought to be called cunning rather than wisdom. To prefer evil to good is not in human nature, and when a man is compelled to choose one of two evils, no one will choose the greater when he might have the less. To be sure I must, and therefore I may assume that your silence gives consent. Courage is a kind of salvation. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs. When he first appears he is a protector. To love rightly is to love what is orderly and beautiful in an educated and disciplined way. No evil can happen to a good man either in life or after death. I exhort you also to take part in the great combat, which is the combat of life, and greater than every other earthly conflict. Poetry is nearer to vital truth than history. He who steals a little steals with the same wish as he who steals much, but with less power. Whatever deceives men seems to produce a magical enchantment. The learning and knowledge that we have is, at the most, but little compared with that of which we are ignorant. The excessive increase of anything causes a reaction in the opposite direction. Knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. No one knows whether death, which people fear to be the greatest evil, may not be the greatest good. No one ever teaches well who wants to teach, or governs well who wants to govern. The most virtuous are those who content themselves with being virtuous without seeking to appear so. The highest reach of injustice is to be deemed just when you are not. If particulars are to have meaning, there must be universals. Injustice is censured because the censors are afraid of suffering, and not from any fear which they have of doing injustice. Virtue is relative to the actions and ages of each of us in all that we do. Then not only custom, but also nature affirms that to do is more disgraceful than to suffer injustice, and that justice is equality. There must always remain something that is antagonistic to good. Wealth is well known to be a great comforter. Poets utter great and wise things which they do not themselves understand.